What's going on, Thrallers? Miller here with another review, this time Cryptopsy as Gammorrah Burns. This one released on September 8th via Nuclear Blast. It's also their 8th studio album, if you're not counting the kind of the compilation from their last two EPs, Book of Suffering, Tomb 1 and 2. Now, this Canadian band got started back in 92 when drummer Flo Manure took over for then Mike Adkin in a band that was called Necrosis. They then switched the names and kind of rebranded themselves as Cryptopsy at that point. They're definitely a brutal technical death metal band. Flo is joined by Christian Donaldson on guitars, Matt McGahey on the vocals, and Oliver Pinyard on bass. All of these musicians are technically brilliant, really. They really are a talented group of guys here, and it shows in this album. This is one of their better albums in my eyes. Cryptopsy has always been kind of like, I've been a fan of these guys, but they've always been kind of hit and miss. This is kind of like, feels more like it's in lines with the EPs that came out a few years ago. And it seems like over the past at least 6-7 years, they're really kind of honing in on what they want to do sound wise, which is great because it's making their albums better and better each time. This album holds no punches at all. It starts right off the bat with Lascivious Undivine, and it's a brutal technical death metal showcase right off the bat. But it also has like this great mid-tempo groove toward the middle of the song, which changes it up from the brutality of it. And honestly, it's kind of nice to hear. There are some moments in here where you get some like atmospheric guitars in the background, which is kind of cool, breaks it up a little bit more. And throughout the album, there's little snippets or little pieces of guitar used as ambience, which is really cool. I think that when you have two guitars that are kind of two guitar tracks anyway, they're kind of doing their own thing, and then they come together at like the bigger breakdown. It really helps to emphasize that part. And in ambience is an example of where the chorus has a great use of the guitar as a background, kind of fill the sonic wall behind what's going on. And the riff with the little slide at the end, I dig that riff. That riff is killer, man. And there are some little solo breaks in these songs. Godless Deceiver, the next song on the album, actually has a great little solo break in it. And the dynamics of this song are really like kind of flow really well, and everything seems really natural and even throughout the song. Ill Ender, one of my favorites on this album, is the way they switch up the main riffs of this song, the really fast section with the vocals over it. And then when that change happens, the floor just like drops off the whole thing. And it's just like one of the heaviest things. Super catchy, super groovy. And I like that this song in particular was like more brutal than tech. Flayed the Swine, one of the singles off this album, is a good use of melody in this one with some nice chorus passages. Definitely one of the more catchier songs on the album. I can see why they used it as a single. And even when I say all this stuff is like flow and melody, it's flow and melody within like the technical brutal death metal genre. It's still blistering fast. It's still hitting you in the face, but there's like an underlying kind of theme to it, and these melodies that you can follow even though they're blistering fast. That's something that you can catch on, those earworms that you hear us talking about all the time. That's really what makes you want to listen to these songs over and over again. This album does get to the point, and it's pretty short, just over 30 minutes. But I think sometimes that may hurt the album a little bit. There's some ideas in here that are really killer, little snippets you get in some songs, like, it could be a groove part, it could be a technical part that really catches on is great use of the skills that these players have, but it's like so short and doesn't seem like they wrap around or revisit it too much. And then some of the ideas that I don't think work as well, they revisit and come around to. And the song Obeson is kind of an example of that, where like kind of most of the song works for me. I really like the intro and the build up into the verses and stuff like that. And I also like how they wrap that intro around during the breakdown and the end of it. But then there's some flow issues, I think, with some of the other riffs that I didn't think. And the sound quality, production-wise, everything like that. Nowadays, it's really, most of these albums are going to sound great just because of everything that's available to everybody to use, and the home recording studio and going to an actual studio. So we're pretty lucky in where we're at musically, because we get a lot of stuff that just sounds good and you can hear everything. And obviously Cryptopsy's not doing a like a small garage studio thing at this point in their career, but it's nice that everything's crisp, precise. You can hear everything really well. I don't really have any problems there with the mixing or any of that stuff at all on this album. The vocals are layered correctly, but they're just kind of like they his styling leads a little more toward like the metal core, where it's the low gurgly kind of intangible type stuff that I don't typically get into. Now I do enjoy Matt's voice because it isn't overly harsh or it isn't overly high pitched or anything. It's pretty mellow. It fits in with everything. But that's kind of the problem. It just kind of fits in, and it does some of the things that we've already heard on some other albums with some other bands, other singers. Again, it's just a personal thing with me. I'm not a overly huge fan of those like metal, the deathcore type vocals, but they are kind of growing on me a little bit as I listen to a little more of this stuff, because it seems like there's more bands that are using those types of vocals. Now, I will give this a 4 out of 5. This is a fantastic album. It's really great. There's not too many problems with it, aside from maybe some flow issues of like, not the drummer Flo. Obviously, Flo is at the top of his game. The drumming on this album is fantastic. It always is. That's why I listen to the albums, I think, and I really don't care who the cast is behind Flo. I just want to hear this dude play drums. I really enjoy the way he phrases his things, his patterns, the way he flows in and out of ideas that the guitars are working with. He just has a really naturally good flow to him, which helps in the songs, because if you were to take his drums out of it, some of these changes are really abrupt and like kind of don't make sense. So he fits everything together very nicely. Now, that's not saying I don't like the guitar work or the bass work at all. I fucking love the guitar work on Cryptopsy albums. They're stellar. They always have been. He has some of the best musicians working with him. And this group that he's got now is really honing in the stuff, and I'm glad to see it, because every album since in this era, I guess, if you will, of this band has gotten better, in my opinion. And this is like the height of that. This is probably my favorite album as of recent from them. I'm fully anticipating the more I spin this album, the more I'm going to like it, because it seems to be the case in most Cryptopsy albums. The more you listen to it, the more you pick out, the more you kind of, oh, wow, that's a really cool riff. I didn't know he was doing that. How is he doing it? And especially if you're a drummer. Like I said, Flo is at the top of his game. And honestly, Oliver and Christian are fantastic musicians too. There's a lot to learn from these guys and listen to them, which is why I would encourage anybody to listen to this, especially given how good this album is. Yeah, it's a review is short and sweet, to the point, just like this album. So if you love Cryptopsy, you love technical, brutal death metal, pick this album up. I don't know why you haven't heard of them if you haven't before. This is one of their better albums, in my opinion. This band is going to continue to write killer stuff, and I can't wait for what the future holds. So if you like the review, give us a thumbs up and hit subscribe and all that normal YouTube stuff. We have shirts and hats. They're finally in. Actually, I have a shirt or this is a hat for those of us keeping track. The hats are here. Nice flex fit hat, thralls of metal, embroidered, moisture wicking, all that good jazz, because we're a bunch of fat, sweaty guys. We need stuff that keeps us cool. And here's the shirt. Check it out. This is from Dylan Baker of Doom Machine Art. Now, we'll throw a link in there, but this is the shirt, the new design for the logo, done by Dylan. Was super stoked to see this. But yeah, I love this shirt. The store is up if you want to check that out. It's thrallsofmetal.com. Link to Patreon under there. Jammin' John's going to be uploading a bunch of shorts here, too, from Full Terror Assault. Him and Nick were out there for the last 3 or 4 days, soaking in all the metal, if you will, having a great time. Hung out with Igor a little bit, Amadeus Cavalera, of course. So look for those shorts coming here soon. Thralls also has some live stuff going on in a couple weeks. If you're in the Fort Wayne area, we have Flesher coming in at Piers. And if you're in Northwest Ohio, here at our home base, Howard's Club H in Bowling Green, Ohio, on Sunday the 24th, you can catch Yotuma. Our friends Yotuma are coming into town. We got a killer show lined up with them. So I appreciate you guys hanging in for the later premiere. I just wanted to make sure I was here. Noon doesn't work out very well for me sometimes, most of the time. So I wanted to be sure I was here with the premiere so I kind of like chat with y'all a little bit. And yeah, I'll be working on a vinyl video here, getting that going again. It'll be sporadic and stuff. You know, vinyls are super expensive. So it's just when I got the money to spend frivolously on vinyl, then I'll do so. But I got a few, so we'll dig into the video, look for that coming in the next few weeks. But until then, stay tuned. Like I said, Jam and John's got the shorts going up. They're going to do a review, recap type thing from the festival, I'm sure. That will be coming up very soon within the next couple days. So yeah, hit subscribe and all that stuff, and hit the notifications to be notified when we upload a new video. Until I see you next time, I will catch you later.